You want a piece of the pie or you want a piece of mind? If that's your two options and you can only choose one option, what one would you prefer? A piece of the pie or a piece of mind? See, I'm out here with this beautiful, serene background and backdrop because I wanted to take a walk and come outside and get some fresh air and, walk on the river because I'm not far from the Mississippi River and it's something I enjoy to do. And it had me thinking about something. I have some friends who are still incarcerated, and I know some people who are still in the game and they're still struggling with some things, and it made me think about something. Do you want a piece of the pie or do you want a piece of mind? See what I'm doing right now? This is a piece of mind. I love having a piece of mind. Forget a piece of the pie. What is a piece of the pie? A piece of the pie is if you still feel like that you have to slang and bang, right? You want to still score because you want that quick and easy money. That's a piece of the pie, man. There's too many risks associated with that piece of the pie. What else is a piece of a pie for a convict or an ex-con or, an ex-gangster? Well, it's ripping and running and trying to keep up with a bunch of females, and it's sinking and destroying your life. You don't want that piece of the pie. You wonder why you ain't never got no peace because you don't know who you got pregnant and who you didn't get pregnant and who's going to come knocking on your door with some kids saying that they belong to you. You see, you don't know because you sowing your oats everywhere and you ain't being smart because you want a piece of the pie. You fighting with everybody else to get a piece of that pie. Instead, you should be sitting at home. You should settle down with a good woman, find you a wife, and chill out. Have a peace of mind. See, I got a peace of mind. I go back home in my house. I pay my taxes. It might not always be perfect, but I much prefer having a piece of mind than a piece of the pie. What else is a piece of the pie? On these YouTube streets, a piece of the pie is feeling like you always got to compete with somebody and poke your chest out to somebody who you never met and probably never will meet. You see YouTubers do it all the time. They're beating their chest like I'm the toughest person. Oh, I'll whip that dude. I'll beat. Who cares? Who really cares? I had to come to that conclusion real soon and real early that I can't waste my time arguing and debating with somebody who I'm never going to meet and never going to see. They don't know me. They don't know you. And if they don't know you, then why should you care? You don't have to prove that you was tough in prison. I'm in the crime and prison genre. The prison genre has blown up to a pretty big genre on social media. And a lot of people feel like they have to poke their chest out and prove that they were the baddest person in prison and that they're still the baddest person now on the streets. You don't have to prove anything except that you are willing to relax, chill out, take a deep breath. Have a peace of mind. Forget a piece of the pie. You don't have to compete with people on YouTube who are saying things about you that they have no clue on what they're saying. They're making claims against you that doesn't make any sense, and you know it doesn't make any sense, but you're still debating and fighting and arguing with them. I've even seen dudes say, look, I'll meet you here. To fight over what? Why do you have to fight somebody because they said that you was whatever that they said that you were, and they don't know you? They didn't do time with you. They wasn't in a cell with you. You know what I mean? They ain't paying your bills. They not taking care of your kids, and if they are, then that's time when you get rid of them. That's time when you get busy. When somebody's trying to move in you on the wrong way. But just because they said something, nah, man, you got to let that stuff go, man. I've been free from prison for a long time. I speak to dudes who I know who are still locked up, and they always tell me, I get this from a lot of people. A lot of people tell me that they tell other dudes who we grew up with, other dudes who I was in prison with, who I joked with, they say, man, they call me Milk. They say, man, Milk is out there living his best life. He's actually doing what we all sitting here talk about and say that we're going to do someday, but we never do. He's actually living it. He got a peace of mind. See, I took one step at a time. I didn't take no easy way, and it's still hard. Because I'm unemployed at the moment and I'm still looking for a job. And if you watch my videos for any amount of time, you already know that I spoke about it. But I'm also not in the worst case scenario, but I still need a job. I want a job. I want something meaningful with benefits. But who knows? Maybe this video will resonate with somebody and I'll be able to make some income doing that, right? So, but right now I have a peace of mind, man. Look at the serenity behind me. I don't care who's slinging what, who's selling what. I don't have to prove anything to anybody. I don't have to get in fights with anybody. If somebody says they want to fight me, I don't care. What does it mean? Now, if they put their hands on me or show up in my yard, well, that's a different problem. You're probably going to have to worry about more than fighting me. But I'm not trying to prove myself to anybody. You don't have to prove yourself to nobody neither. We just have to stay positive and keep a positive mindset. And what I'm telling you is, don't fight for a piece of the pie when a piece of the pie is not even worth having. A piece of the pie is trash. Instead, keep yourself a peace of mind, because a peace of mind is more important than a piece of the pie. And I hope you got something out of this little short video that I decided to make, to share with you, to get to you something positive. And just keep those thoughts in your head, man. Don't prove anything to anybody. Prove something to yourself, because if you can't prove it to yourself, it's not worth proving to somebody anyway. You know, you got to prove it to you first and foremost. That's the most important thing. And look, life isn't easy. We'll talk about that some other time. Sometimes you got to make difficult decisions, and sometimes things don't always go the way you want, and there is adversity, you know. But when I'm talking about the piece of the pie, I'm not talking about a good piece of the pie. I'm talking about a bad, rotten piece of the pie, piece that nobody wants. You know what I mean? That been sitting out and is stale and got mold on it. That's the piece of the pie. Stuff like slanging narcotics, and you in your 30s and 40s, you don't need that piece of the pie. Trying to keep up with fast women and prostitutes, you don't need a piece of that pie. Ignore that. Spending your... Look, I know a dude, he spent $30,000 on social media, Instagram, whatever, watching for this model that he never even met. And he was sleeping on the sofa for a long time, and even sleeping in his truck while he had to still pay the bills, because he was too busy wasting his money trying to get a piece of the pie with some woman he didn't even know, and she done took all the dude's money. You don't need that in your life, man. Or you don't need to go fight with somebody because they said something about you on TikTok or on YouTube. You know what you do, man? Just move past it, delete it. Look, one thing about having your own YouTube channel, you can delete messages. If I think somebody's getting personal in the comments, delete, move on. You know what I mean? I can't waste my time thinking about it. I got too much going on. I can't be worrying about that. You know, so I move on real quick. And you got to be willing to do that. You know, we can share what we feel and what we believe, man. But when you take stuff personal with people, you know, that ain't no good, man. That's intruding on your peace of mind. And I'm fighting for my peace of mind, because this is what I'm doing. This is my peace of mind. You know, I like to be free. I don't want to go back in prison. I know dudes who went back to prison. They back in there and they doing a long time, doing life sentences, or they getting back out, man. I don't never want to go back. I had enough, right? I enjoy my freedom. I don't have to get caught up in no crowd. And I don't have to care about what people think about me. The only person that matters what thinks about me is the people who are closest to me. My wife, my mother, and my father are gone. My children, you know, and that's a work in progress. And the good Lord above, or any of my mentors or family or friends who are close to me, you know, that makes a difference. You know, if those people betray you, that can hurt a little bit, you know. But man, I love the peace of mind, y'all. This is beautiful, man. You can't do this in prison. Look behind me. There's nobody behind me. Look, I got all this peace of mind. You know why? Because everybody right now, they out there in the Mardi Gras parades. I'm in New Orleans, and there's parades all over New Orleans today. And they too busy ripping and running, worrying about that. I ain't going to no Mardi Gras parade. The only way I would go to a Mardi Gras parade is if I was going to a parade to get some content, you know, maybe catch some people getting arrested or do some interviews or something like that, but that's coming in the future. But for now, I'm just gonna relax and do this, man. I go get a piece of king cake, sit in my yard, or come sit on this river and look at the boats pass by and just take a deep breath and enjoy my peace of mind, man. And I'm hoping wherever you at, whatever state you live in, or wherever in the world you live in, and you have a place that you can walk to and get a peace of mind and say, you know what? I ain't fighting for that corrupt piece of pie, because I'm enjoying my peace of mind. And that's all I got for you today, man. Like, subscribe, hit that hype button. Go check out some of my other videos. It helps with the algorithm and it helps get my content out there. And we're trying to build the Pen and the Shank into a bigger channel. You know, the Pen and the Shank, the most unusual and unique crime and prison related channel experience on YouTube, man. Let's get it. Peace of mind.